everybody, it's Mr. G. Welcome back to My Guitar Groove. What we're going to be doing today is we are going to be installing a Hipshot B-Bender on the G&L ASAT Classic. Stay tuned. Okay, a couple of things before we get started. So, the B-Bender that we're installing also has the drop D lever, so it'll take your E string and drop it down to a D for you. Now, I'll show you once we get over to the bench, but I needed to purchase a new bridge to install the B-Bender on this guitar. And I'll show you why once we get over to the bench. So let's head on over to the workbench and get started on this install and setup. Alright, so here we are at the bench. What I had to do first is remove the existing bridge from this guitar, and let me show you why. So the bridge that originally came with this guitar was 6 saddle. It's a barrel style, but they're very, very small. And the string on the B and on the E have to pass through the back of the bridge in order to get to the bender. So there's not a lot of space to have these strings come by and clear the spring and come out at the end of the bridge. So what I decided to do is to go with a compensated 3-saddle bridge. This one is from Wilkinson, and you'll notice once I remove the package, this particular bridge can be mounted with the strings through the body or at the back of the bridge. So the holes are already there for me to feed the string through to get to the bender. Otherwise, if you don't have a bridge with the holes already in it, you're going to have to drill holes for the B and the E strings to come through the back of the bridge. So here's what the two bridges look like side by side. This is the one that came out of the guitar, and this is the new one that I'm putting in. So you'll notice the difference on the back. So on the back of the Wilkinson, there are holes that are already drilled in there, and I'm going to use 2 of those holes in order to feed the strings through. If I did not have those holes, like in this bridge, I would have to find some space to drill some holes for the E and the B string. Alright, so first thing we want to do in the mounting procedure is we want to mount the Hipshot B-Bender in place. And it's done real simple. You actually remove your strap button on the body of the guitar. You place the B-Bender and you reinstall the strap button. The strap button is what actually holds the B-Bender in place. Now, you can also see that there are a couple of holes in the B-Bender. If you wanted to put some extra screws there to make sure that this never moves, you can permanently mount it. I'm not going to do that. I've had luck with this particular B-Bender before, just installed with the strap button. So again, you remove the strap button and put the B-Bender in place. It lines up perfectly with that slot that's there. And then you just reinstall your strap button and tighten it down so that the B-Bender is firmly to the guitar. The rest of the install has to do with the bridge. So I've got this new bridge, and I chose this particular one because the saddles are brass and they are smooth, so that the string will flow nicely over top of these saddles and not bind. Now, the B string and the E string are going to come out through these back holes. To make sure that they glide and don't bind up on the actual bridge, Hipshot includes these little nylon slide tubes. So the string actually goes through these tubes and slides nice and easy and does not bind. Now, the trick is these strings that are going through these tubes have to go through the back of the bridge. So the holes at the back of the bridge are too small for this nylon sleeve to go through. So I'm going to have to drill a little bit larger hole in the back of this bridge, large enough so that these nylon sleeves will fit snugly in those holes. Alright, so I've got 3/32 of an inch drill bit, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just be making the hole for the B string and the E string a little bit larger. So we're going to try to see now if this little nylon tube will fit in those holes, just like that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to mount the pickup into the bridge and put the bridge onto the guitar. Okay, so I got the pickup mounting screws through, and they're rubber springs. Alright, so the pickup is good, and now what we're going to do is just mount the bridge to the guitar. So this particular type of bridge is what they call a vintage style. It has 4 screws that hold the bridge to the body. The new modern ones, they have 3 screws. And now what you want to do is, once you have the bridge in place, you want to start stringing the guitar. So the B string and your low E string, you're going to feed them through the bender and through this nylon sleeve. So what you want to do is you want to put your nylon sleeves in place, and then you're going to see that these springs actually hold the string and the sleeve in place, like so. So on my Telecaster guitars, I use Ernie Ball, and that's the Super Slinky 9 to 42 gauge strings. So again, let's start with the E string. So the way that the bender works is you feed the string through the bender. So there's a little hole, and then bring it down, and then you're going to feed the string into the nylon slide tube, up over the saddle. And then seat the little ball. So make sure that everything is seated properly in the B bender. And string up your E string. Okay, so once the string is in, don't worry about the height yet. We have to go back and adjust the pickup height, and we have to adjust the saddle height and all that kind of stuff at the end. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that the bender part works. So there's our E, let's say, and then there's our D. Hear the pitch change? So that all gets set up to pitch with this little tuner right here. So this basically stops once we get to our D. So we can see that this is working. That would be E. That would be our D. Okay? So we'll do some fine adjusting afterwards once this is all set up and we have all the tension in place and everything is good to go. But so far, that part is working. So now I'm going to put on my B string. So the same idea holds true for the B string. There's a hole in the back of the bender. And then you feed the string through the nylon slider. Once you get it in place, make sure the ball seats in there good. And then string up your B. Again, we're not worrying about the string height at this point. We'll do a full adjustment on this guitar. So let's say that is our B. When we engage the bender, that B should go to a C sharp. Hear the difference in pitch? So now the B bender part is working. So we've got the drop D and the B bender. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and restring the rest of the guitar. We're going to have to adjust our saddles, adjust the pickup, do intonation and all that kind of stuff. But for the B bender, you have to have holes at the back of the bridge, just large enough to fit these nylon sliders, and then you feed the strings through. So I'll go ahead and string up the rest of this. Alright, so all the strings are on. I'm going to take her back over and tune it up. Make my adjustments for my B bender and my drop D. And then what I'm going to do afterwards, I'm going to create another video on setting up the bridge in its final position. So I'll turn that into a second video. So setting the string height and the intonation. So we'll turn that into a second video. Well, let's go tune it up and just make sure that our B bender and our drop D work the way they should. Okay, so the bender is in. It looks good, I like it. So the guitar is tuned to pitch. Again, I have not yet set the intonation and the string height to where I want. Again, I'm going to make a video about that. But I want to show you how you tune your bender. So just right here is my rack tuner. And if I hit my E string, so we'll tune my E. So hopefully you can see that. So my E string, and then when I hit the drop D lever, my E string should become a D. And you'll notice that I'm a little flat on the D. When I engage it, I'm perfect on the E, a little flat on the D. So what you're going to do is you're adjusting this thumb screw here to bring the D into pitch. You'll notice it doesn't affect your E string. So your E tuning and then your D tuning. And you'll have to do this a couple of times as your brand new strings as they stretch, just like your regular tuning of your guitar. But the thumb screw here, so you tune for your E, and then you engage the drop D lever and adjust the thumb screw to bring that into pitch. Very similar with the B string. So we're going to bring the B into tune. So my B is in tune. Then I'm going to engage the bender, and my B should become a C sharp. Perfectly in tune. Again, B into C sharp. If my C sharp was not in tune, there's a thumb screw here that I would adjust, and basically it stops where my lever goes. So when I engage the bender, this thumb screw stops and hits the actual bender plate and tells the guitar or the bender when to stop whenever you're in tune. So the way that a B bender works, so a Hipshot B bender has a bar. So this is what the bar looks like. And basically it feeds into the bender like this. When you want to bend the string, your hip activates. So basically, it sits on your hip, just like that. So that is the install and setup of a B bender on a Telecaster style guitar. So this is the Hipshot B bender with the drop D lever. So, if you're looking at getting into some B bending, this is a nice way to do it. You don't have to modify your guitar. You don't have to route it out. It basically bolts right onto the guitar and allows you to do some B bender licks. So again, installation of the Hipshot B bender. So I hope you found this helpful. Please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, stay safe, everybody. Take care.